Hello, my name is Jitters and welcome to my channel. The Ishizu cards are officially out, and that means that the Ishizu tier deck is officially legal in the TCG. So for those of you who plan on picking up the cards, there's a very good chance that you're going to be running into the mirror a ton, especially if you plan on bringing the deck to tournaments. I've been playing a ton of the mirror over the last couple of weeks, so in this video I'm going to be giving you guys 5 tips to help you in the Ishizu tier mirror. The first tip has to do with using the Herald of Orange Light. I know not everyone plans on playing it, but for those of you who are, it is a very powerful tool. In my opinion, the best cards to hit with Herald of the Orange Light are the Abyss Dweller. Hitting Dweller honestly gives you a ton of advantage. They're going to be using 2 level 4 monsters to make it, and then you're just going to negate and destroy it, which gives you like a ton of advantage and makes it really hard for them to remake the Dweller. There are ways to do it. They can shuffle back the Dweller with either Keldo or Medora, but in 99% of cases, they're not going to be able to put 2 more level 4 bodies on board to make it again. The other thing you could do is if you are going first and they happen to mill Keldo or Medora off of like a Havanus, you can use the Herald of Orange Light to negate that effect to ensure that your fusions do go off. And sometimes that can just snowball and win you that game. So it is a case-by-case basis, but generally going second, hitting the Dweller, or sometimes even like a Sprite Elf if they linked off all the materials and their plan is to bring back like a Merly or a Diviner to get their plays going, you can hit that as well. And then going first, either hitting the Keldo or Medora if they happen to mill them. Is also very powerful. The second tip I have for you guys is actually in how you activate your Tearlaments fusion effects. So generally, especially with Keldo or Medora in the graveyard, you do not want to activate all 3 of the effects at once. Even if you mill all the names, the best way to play it out is usually to activate them one at a time. You can start with either Sharon or Havanus, and then generally you want to try to leave Merly for last if possible, to then use Sprint to send the Merly later if you need to. So what this will do is force them to use multiple of their shuffle back effects. So if you activate Sharon, they can use Keldo effect to stop it. And then if you mill Havanus later in that turn, they'll have to use Medora to stop that. And when you use Sprint to send Merly, they won't have any more effects to be able to stop that fusion from going off. Whereas if you use all 3 effects at once, their Keldo or their Medora will get a ton of value shuffling all 3 of those back, leaving you in a position where you can't fuse for the rest of the turn, and they only had to exhaust one of the Ishizu cards to stop all 3 of those fusions. Moving on to tip number 3, a big thing in this matchup is not using the Kelbeck or yugioh effects to mill 5 just blindly. You want to, if possible, set up some sort of way to interrupt their graveyard before you activate these effects. So that's either going to be an Abyss Dweller, or if you play the Gravekeeper's Trap, that can also work as well. Or even just a Keldo or Medora in the graveyard to shuffle back any tier names that they happen to mill. I will say though, if that your plan is using Keldo or Medora, this can be a little bit risky because you could potentially mill either a Scream or a Suliak to give them free advantage, or you could even mill one of their own Agito's or Kelbecks, which will allow them to mill 5 more cards and potentially get another fusion off in that turn as well. So this can be very risky, but sometimes it can pay off, especially if you already have those names in the grave and you're already set up to stop any graveyard effects that they do end up milling. The 4th tip I have for you guys has to do with the interaction between the Shufflers and the Primeval Planet. The Primeval Planet just states that if a Tearlaments monster shuffled back into the deck or extra deck, you could target a card on the field and then pop it. This combos really well with the 2 Shufflers because it effectively turns them into a Dryden. Anytime you shuffle back any tier name, whether that's a Merly, a Sheeran, or any of the extra deck monsters, you will be able to target a card on the field and pop it. This allows you to deal with really powerful floodgates like Skill Drain, Soul Drain, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror if they're playing that. It allows you to deal with Mystic Mine. It also helps you pop their planet as well. And the thing is, the planet in the mirror is very powerful. It's just constant advantage every turn getting that free pop. So being able to pop their field spell can be game winning, especially in the long run. But this can be dangerous as well because if you do shuffle back a Tearlaments monster to stop a fusion, this will actually still trigger the field spell. So that is something to worry about in the mirror. One thing you can do is shuffle back one of their names and then shuffle back one of your names as well. And what this does is that if they're the turn player, they're going to be Chainlink 1 with their planet effect. And then you'll be Chainlink 2 and you'll be able to pop their planet before their planet can resolve. And that's a easy way to get a ton of advantage in the mirror as well. And the last tip I have for you guys has to do with Asa the Earth Charmer. I know not everyone's going to be playing this, but I do think that this is a very, very solid card. You can make this with any Earth Fairy and any other monster, and it's very good at baiting out the interactions of Keldo or Medora. If you use its effect to target one of them, they pretty much are forced to activate them on the spot. Otherwise, they're going to be giving them to you. And the thing is, you can activate their effects from the field as well. So if they let you take their Keldo, you could then banish it from the field right away and shuffle back 3 of their cards in the graveyard. So because of that, it actually gets a ton of value. And honestly, one of the biggest things in the mirror is to be able to deal with the shufflers, and whoever can deal with them more effectively usually ends up on top in the long run. So if you have cards like Asa to be able to deal with them before you actually go into your fusions, can actually be very, very powerful and help get those fusions off more often than they would have otherwise. But that's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully this helped you guys out when you guys play the mirror. If you have any questions or anything else you want to bring up, please leave a comment letting me know. Don't forget to like the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I do appreciate the support. And yeah, see you guys next time.